All right, welcome to Cultural Entropy. This is going to be a book review for The Black Ice by Michael Connelly. It's a Harry Bosch book. I've been meaning to get into the Harry Bosch books for years and years at this point, and a lot of good reviews by a lot of people that I know. One of the books that I didn't necessarily hear good reviews on is Black Ice. I heard that Concrete Blonde is really good. I really want to get that one, and eventually Trunk Music. I did read Black Echo. I did like it. I thought it kind of unravels in the second half, but it was still genuinely a solid book. Um, I thought the Black Ice, the first half was better than the Black Echo. I thought the second half was really bad to be very blunt about it. One of the things I would say about things is generally from a genre perspective, you really got to know your audience, you got to know what they expect. From a summary perspective, this is about detective LAPD detective Harry Bosch. He is long story short, he is investigating the apparent suicide of another LAPD detective, and that takes him across the border to Mexico, where the story basically concludes. I thought the first half was really good. Again, from a genre perspective, it was the hard-boiled detective novel that I picked up right about the middle point, and I'll try and avoid certain spoilers. I don't like the genre books where they have the male lead just have sex with female characters for no good reason. I don't particularly enjoy that. And there's a bullfight in the second half, and if you read this novel, and you'll understand what I mean by that overall. And I go back to what I said about, like, from a genre perspective, understand what your audience is in for, because they probably have read more of the genre than you have. And if you turn a hard-boiled detective novel into like a gunfight, it may not always translate to what your audience expectations are of following the following the clues and interrogating the bad guys. And I go back to uh, the first Matthew Scudder book by Lawrence Block, The Sins of the Father, and that's essentially all that book was. I thought there was an unnecessary fist fight at one point in that book that took me out of the novel, but it was primarily just the main character Matthew Scudder interrogating people. And in this case, that's what I want more of from Harry Bosch, who is probably his own worst enemy. And when you try and put jam that square peg into that round hole, you're going to end up with a second half that just doesn't conform with the first half, which was you know the hard boiled LA scene versus Mexico, and the fish out of water of Harry Bosch going down to Mexico. It just didn't do well with me overall. I am still looking forward to reading Concrete Blonde eventually when I get to it. However, the first half of the book, I was like, hey, I really want to read more books by Michael Connelly outside of the Harry Bosch series, like The Lincoln Lawyer. I know there's other spin-offs that Michael Connelly's done, and I can tell you the second half of this book really made me go, maybe for the time being, I will just stick to reading the next few novels to get to the ones that I hear are good, and then make up my mind after that. I will say again in this one as a review, and I point this out to like almost everything. I tell people a lot about the audience expectations, especially within genre. And I use the example of silencers on guns. For the most part, silencers do not work the way that they are shown in movies, and therefore, in books, they shouldn't also work that way. But the audience, the genre audience, expects them to function a particular way, so it can take more effort to explain to an audience how a suppressor works on a firearm than how they actually work in real life. And just it's just better sometimes to stick with what the audience thinks that they know than explain it to them. Know your audience. If your audience thinks that silencers work on guns a particular way, might as well stick with that. However, in this case, good old Michael Connelly brought up subsonic subsonic hollow points going through three people before they stop. And from my general understanding of firearms, and I'm not going to get into my background or anything, silencers function well. For the most part, there are not Hollywood silencers. They some still exist, and they are pumping pretty good suppressors out there nowadays. But the suppressors make noise, and they definitely make noise when the bullet is traveling faster than the speed of sound. It causes the crack of the bullet traveling beyond the sound barrier. So using supersonic bullets in a silencer is already a dumb idea. The second thing is hollow points are designed to expand once they hit a target and mushroom and transfer as much kinetic energy into the target as possible. So again, firing a super or subsonic bullet is already going to go slower, and it's also used in a suppressor to go along with a hollow point that is supposed to mushroom, not go through three people. And if you're not going to put the effort in with some of your genre audiences, they're going to check out. So anyway, that's my review of The Black Ice by Michael Connelly. First half good, second half not good. We'll continue to read the series, and hopefully I'll catch you again on Cultural Entropy.